Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the first YouTube Geek Week event here at C9 C10. I'm Alexis. I use she, they pronouns. I'm the fall planning assistant, and I'm going to let my lovely co introduce themselves.
Hi, everyone. My name is Cameron. I am a fourth year. I use she, they pronouns, and I am also a PA at colleges 9 and 10.
Sweet. Cam and I are going to be hanging out with you guys a couple times this week, doing some geeky stuff here on the YouTube channel. And we're pretty excited. Today we're going to be talking about some fandoms, and we're going to be giving our very expert opinions on which ones we think are the best and which ones we think are less cool. Still good. Everybody's good. It's all good.
All fandoms are cool to a certain extent.
Yeah. Exactly. But first, I'm going to talk about our sponsor, not sponsor. I'm going to talk about EOP a little bit with you guys. If you don't know about EOP, that's the Educational Opportunities Program. They provide personal support programs. It's really just for retention and academic success of first-gen and low-income college students, and just generally anyone from an educationally disadvantaged background. And they're just here to ensure that those students are successful in completing undergraduate education and being prepared for graduate and professional school or future leadership generally. They have a lot of different services, such as the peer advising leaders. These are very one-on-one support from other undergraduates. They connect with you to address individual problems, questions during drop-in hours. They also have group discussions during workshops. They connect with students with a bunch of different collaborations across campus and programs. It's just designed to retain and help you along your path to graduation here. And there's an appointment request form for a one-on-one. Yeah, those are all the different times. Super cool. They also have the Graduate Information Program, where they have some graduate information assistants who are also undergraduates from UCSC. And they're really also another form of peer advising for EOP students interested in graduate school and professional development. So they're around for different information on research programs, for graduate programs, how to pay for grad school and all that kind of stuff. They also have a bunch of different workshops and programs. And for Geek Week, ARC and EOP is going to be hosting humor writing during dark times. There is a link in the description, and it's just a fun collaboration for Geek Week. They'll be hosting Jules Smith, the creator of Afrocentric. It's a comic, and it's very cool. It's gonna be really cool. It's gonna be a writing workshop, humor writing in dark times. And Jules is a writer, cultural worker, and educator who uses comics to engage with students and readers. It's gonna be on Thursday, March 4th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And it's open for all to attend. So if you'd like to learn how to write good jokes, learn a bit more about comedy and comics, and spend more time together as a community, feel free to join. Yeah, that's my spiel for EOP.
Nice. All right, and we're going to be doing the shout out for 9 and 10 at the very end, right? Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So
before we get into everything, I have a quick little history of fandoms for everybody. If you'd like to hear, Cam.
I would love to hear it.
Cool. So generally speaking, if you want to get into the first fandom, we got to talk about Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Oh yeah. That Conan Doyle fandom. Ooh.
And it still lives today.
Oh yeah. It was in the 1900s to 1920s. They would host a newsletter, and everyone would send in their own little letters, just about their thoughts on everything. That's kind of the vibe for a while before we got into the organized sci-fi fantasy fandom in the US, which was kind of born out of the Second World War, maybe a little before. It was also a lot through fandom newsletters. kind of got into like phone calls and things like that, but nothing too crazy. And it's kind of where the convention scene really started out. And then you get into 1960s and you get some Star Trek.
Oh,
and that's
yes.
where it really starts to pop off.
Birth of the modern fandom.
Oh, yeah.
That one
Fandom
was-
in the public sphere.
yeah.
Sorry. I did not hear.
Oh, no. Keep going.
Okay. Before the fandom, it like really popped off. It was like, well, okay, before all this, like I said, fandom had really existed, but like Star Trek was the first time on television. Like things were in like a lot of different homes, and it was something you could talk about week to week with a large group of people. So it was something to be excited about with other people. And it really like brought about the popularization of conventions and the mailing groups, and especially zines, which Nicole talked about a little bit during the Identizine live stream. It's kind of like the popularization of that as well. The Media West convention was kind of instrumental in the emergence of these things called fan videos in the 1970s, which were just like analytical music videos, from what I understand. I like to think of it as like a very smart AMV.
Right? I was thinking that. I was like, oh, a musical video. Interesting. You mean like...
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And then like in America, we also started to see in the 1970s was like the anime and manga fandom started to make their presence known. It kind of became it started like as an offshoot of sci-fi fandom. And there was a lot of like it was mostly like imported copies of manga was brought to conventions, so the convention scene really like propelled it into popular culture in the United States. If you really want to take a deep dive in what fandom means to you, the Grateful Dead subculture
Oh God.
of the 1960s. If you really want to get into it, hippie culture is just a fandom.
I have never heard it described that way. I truly have never heard it described that way. But I guess it does make sense just a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's the perfect example of a fandom.
You can make anything a fandom though. Like technically the word fandom can be applied to anything. Any time that there is a large gathering of people who are all talking about the same thing in probably an enthusiastic manner, it's probably a fandom. Now, that might be controversial when you apply it to certain things, but technicalities. So
yeah. Yeah. Okay. And then so that's generally the vibe until like the internet existed. It was just a lot of convention scene and zines and like phone calls, newsletters, all that kind of stuff. There were like even these newsletters that existed just for fan fiction. And it was like you had to get your fan fiction run through like an editor and all this different process, which we'll probably talk about during our own fan fiction events, just a little. But like in the 90s, you get like these big deal fandoms that like you think of today. So like X-Files and like Star Trek Continued and Star Wars, the Game of Thrones books, West Wing, Buffy. That's a big one for me. And you get the birth of like GeoCities and Yahoo groups. So that's like early fan fiction archives. And it was like, it made fandoms like smaller. Or no, they made them more bigger. Sorry. Like
I was like,
yeah. It made them like more accessible generally, but it also made it so you could have subcultures is what I was trying to say. So it was like kind of smaller. You could have these like subcultures that existed on
more
like
centralized almost, but within their own sphere. Okay.
Yeah, and you didn't have to like pass through an editorial board to get your ideas through of like what you thought of a certain thing.
You could just say it, and then it's like, wow, that was a controversial take, and then the people will argue with it. That's the whole joy of fandom sometimes.
Exactly. In 98, you get fanfiction.net.
Nice.
RIP, kinda. In 99, you get LiveJournal, so you get like communities and private journals through that. And now you could have like mods. Posts could be like friend and community locked. So it's like really specific subcultures were able to like build from these through internet relationships. And like you get the rise of forums. Yeah, and then there's some weird stuff that happened with fanfiction.net for a while that made things pretty weird. I'm not going to get into it because it was just about very specific types of fan fictions and very specific types of fans. And then you got like,
isn't that the reason why AO3 was created? Yep. Are you getting to that? Okay.
2007. And that's where a lot of fandoms moved to.
Yeah. And
then in 2007, you get Tumblr. They didn't really reach full like internet saturation until the 2010s. After GeoCities was taken down in 2009. And that's kind of where you get to where we are with fandoms, where like they each have their own culture on kind of different websites, right? So like Tumblr is kind of like, you'd be on different parts of Tumblr. Yeah.
Hipster Tumblr. Yeah. Anime Tumblr. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's like the TikTok sides now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh my God. Being on TikTok at 21 and just like seeing
the same thing. It's like, wow, I was 14 when we engaged in this discourse and you're bringing it up again. Like, wow.
Exactly. Yeah. So that brings us kind of into where we're at today with fandom. Just like it exists far reaching on the internet. There's all these different places to really be part of a subculture of fandom. But, you know, we've lost some of the greats, including fanfiction.net. It still exists, I think, but it's just like not really used. AO3 is really where you go.
It's there. And I will say that I love AO3 from someone who has used both quite a lot, not frequently, because I haven't used fanfiction.net in a very long time. But AO3 is nice because it's always in beta mode, but that's because essentially they have lawyers to protect like the rights of all the people making the fan fiction, which is why AO3 is so good, because before there was a lot of censorship with fanfiction.net, especially with people coming after the authors for specific reasons. But with AO3, it's a place where you can publish your work without having the fear of like someone coming after you. So that's why a lot of people move to AO3. And that's also why a lot of people move from website to website as well, because same thing happened with DeviantArt, because everyone was posting their fan art there, and then their DeviantArt was like, hey, okay, Christian asked, what does AO3 stand for? Archive of Our Own. So it's AOOO, and so that's AO3, yeah. And then so DeviantArt was basically using people's pictures and stuff without their consent, because technically in the terms of agreement, if you post it on their website, they can use it whenever they want. So issues.
Yeah, and then we had like that recent death of Tumblr too, so things have kind of moved to Twitter. I think Twitter is really a big one right now.
Twitter is the biggest one. I am actually not a fan of fandoms being on Twitter, just because it's too there's no archiving system. Like with Tumblr, you can tag everything, you can go back and forth between it, and you can just, it's like it's so beautiful to, like, if you go through your archive, you can see everything that you reblogged. So it's
I love Tumblr.
Right, the tagging system was beautiful. And then there's Twitter, which after a while it just disappears and you'll never find it again. So
yeah, I did recently go back on, this is tangent, but I recently went back on Tumblr and like, did they get rid of the archive? Or is it really hard to find now? You have to like manually type it.
I've always manually typed it, so I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to check that out then. And go back and
the tagging system's also weird now. I think that was just the last time I was looking, because I remember I just wanted to look at my blog because I had all these like cute backgrounds that I would always tag as background, or just like general reference material. And I was like, it just wouldn't take me there, but it did in the archive. Now that I think about it, like I could go through tags in the archive, but they should keep changing stuff.
Right.
I feel like the website reached a perfect point, and then from there,
kind of crashed after they try to get rid of all the all the NSFW material, and it's like, and then people left, and it's like, okay,
that seems to be the tipping point for a lot of websites.
I can't post what I want to post, all this explicit stuff. It's like, okay, I take my leave now, goodbye.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened with fan fiction, is that like it was, I don't think it was an outright ban of NSFW like immediately, but they kind of like they were like, hey,
we're not, let's bring it back.
Reel it in. Let's reel it in.
Where am I going to read my stuff? And then they all went to AO3.
Yeah.
The tagging system on that is good, I will say. Love the tags on that. All right. Did you want to get into ranking the?
I think we can get into it.
Okay. After our nice history background of whatever we were talking about. Okay, perfect.
Sweet. I think we can start with Attack on Titan because that's the first one I see.
Actually, I'm going to fight back against that. Let's not start off with Attack on Titan. I want to start with Super Hulock.
Okay. All right. Okay. Because we did put these three together, how do we want to approach this? Do we want to rank them first and then decide kind of an average? Or
So the thing about this is that, I mean, within Super Hulock itself, they're on different tiers, at least in my head, about how annoying they are, and whether or not they should be like A or like whatever. But at the same time, I think it's funny to just group them all together because, you know, they were such a strong and staple part of the community for so long. The three of them just united, like wow, like this many people are all just like buddies and bros. Like that's so wonderful. That in itself is a fandom. So obviously we're going to do that. But before we actually rank Super Hulock, how about let's rank Doctor Who, Supernatural, and Sherlock? Where would you place them?
I gotta think that one through. I'll be honest, I was never into that into Supernatural.
Me neither.
So it's like hard to rank that fandom because I just kind of watched it happen. But I feel like for me, they're like birth of Tumblr fandom in my head. So I feel like they have to be high up. They're not on this tier list, by the way. We're ranking on this tier list, just for the viewers. We're ranking on this tier list.
If I could step in.
Super Hulock.
If I could step
Christian.
in. Hi, hello, invisible voice producer Christian here. Admittedly, I followed Supernatural. Of Super Hulock, I followed Supernatural pretty religiously. Watched it every Thursday at 8 p.m. Pacific. On the CW, on the CW, and the actual content itself was pretty interesting. It was very good trash TV. The writing was recyclable, but okay. But the fandom itself was horrible.
Yes.
Okay.
I
was gonna put them so high because they're I
was gonna fight you on that.
you are absolutely correct that they're the ones that really launched Tumblr fandoms and set a precedent for what it was like to interact with media on Tumblr. So and at times it was great, but most of the time it was just hot takes and arguing in a room and trying to make Wincest okay.
That one's rough.
Okay. So I'll give you my ranking of where I put the three of them. So I think Doctor Who, out of all of them, is probably the best. It's a classic. Like it goes back to, it's one of the older fandoms as well. It's not as, I mean, Sherlock is old, but we're talking about like Benedict Cumberbatch Sherlock, not like So
I have the books separate.
Those two are two different entities. So Doctor Who is probably the best one since it's almost like a cultural classic, kind of like Harry Potter was. I'm ranking Sherlock underneath that. It was a good show. Fans they were annoying, but they weren't that annoying. The whole sapiosexual thing came out of that, like the whole I love intelligence, I am so manipulative, anyway. So that was like the tone of them. And then underneath at the very, very bottom, I would put Supernatural. I don't even know why.
Are they D-list?
I would put them as a F list, but that's my personal take on it. I'm not ranking them through like S, A, B, C, D, but it's just Supernatural it's funny because the two other shows are British. So I will actually call this one the American trash show. The content is fine. But obviously it should have ended by season 6. I'm just repeating what other people have said, but
season
even I know
5.
Season 5, it should have ended by season 5. There we go. Thank you, disembodied voice of Christian.
It's really interesting how they ended up lumped together because I just feel like, at least Sherlock and like Doctor Who made sense to me because like you're already watching BBC shows, and like Doctor Who is a classic. That's something that I watch with my mom and my grandma. Like it's just one of those things. And then like Sherlock is fun.
So being in high school, I can kind of go into a little bit why they were all looped into. So I was in high school when Tumblr became like hit its first wave of popularity around the time when these fandoms were created. There were so many people it seemed like they all discovered Tumblr at the same time.
Yeah.
And it was a small subset of people that were were watching all three shows that really kicked off, like, why are we arguing which one of these is better? They're all good. We're just gonna call ourselves Super Hulock, the Super Hulock fandom, and which led to people in either the three camps consuming the other two shows or the other one show that they didn't watch, and they were like, yeah, this rounds out my need for media. And then the Super Hulock fandom just kept growing and growing. So that little bit of a history lesson there. But yeah.
Yes. Yeah, the circles were just hella tight. They were all like, yeah, we're all gonna do this. Anyway, that's my ranking.
I agree with your. Yeah, I agree. So where are we gonna put them?
We're not putting.
I feel like I feel like they're like a solid C or B, because I feel like we can't let Supernatural bring the whole thing down, and they are like instrumental to.
Oh, they're huge. It's
Tumblr.
like they have added so much to fandom culture. It's you can't live your life in fandom without hearing this at least like once or twice. Like, or at least knowing that there's a bunch of annoying kids like all like raving over these three shows. I would put it as a solid B, because I'm not gonna take away from what it's contributed. But am I saying it's good? I'm not saying it's good. I went through Misha Apocalypse. That was so annoying. But
oh yeah, well, okay, so that's still. You're letting Supernatural bring down the whole thing.
Okay, fine.
I feel like that's not fair.
Okay, fine. Sherlock was also really annoying because everyone.
The sapiosexual thing that drove me insane.
Yeah, I was like, why are we talking about this? It's like, that's not a natural sexual attraction. It's just like, hey, I'm pretentious. Yeah. Okay, fine. I'll talk good things about. Well, I already said good things about Doctor Who. It's the classic. Like you've got all the classic like villains in it, or like the types of monsters or aliens that they have. It's like, and a lot of their shows or like episodes are really touching, and you can watch it without like actually knowing what's going on. Who was your favorite Doctor?
Who's my favorite Doctor? Oh, I like. I think it's controversial. I like the first one that was brought back. I can't remember the actor's name. I like 9. Okay, I like 9 a lot. Yeah.
I didn't watch 9. I didn't watch any of them except for 11, actually, which is the one that they compare to a giraffe.
Yeah, that's
Matt Smith.
It's not David Tennant.
Matt Smith. Yeah.
Matt Smith is your favorite Doctor. That's
the only one I watched.
Okay. I think most people's favorite is David Tennant.
Yeah. Everyone loves
his is a good arc. It's funny because I don't like Rose Tyler's arc, but I love 9.
You love 9.
So Rose Tyler is who they start with. I don't know, which you haven't seen.
Which I haven't seen at all.
Rose Tyler is the first companion for 9, and then she's the companion for a long time. She kind of goes through all of 9, and then she's David Tennant's companion for a while. And I think she even comes back at points. And it's sad. Yeah. It's a sad storyline. But I just didn't care for Rose Tyler.
I watched the season finale of 11. So that's the one with the angels in New York, like that whole spiel. I didn't understand what was going on. So I basically had to start over from the beginning and watch till the end. That's why I only watched 11. So
that makes sense. 10 has the best companions, though.
Yes.
If we're going to get into that. 10 does have the best. Yeah. Okay.
Let's put down Super Hulock as B. Because Doctor Who brings it up. Doctor Who brings it up. If it was just Sherlock and Supernatural, they're a solid C.
Yeah, I can't remember having any specific problems with like Doctor Who fans as a whole.
Yeah.
generally.
So just a heads up, you put them smack in the middle. So this is your baseline.
It's our baseline.
It's our baseline. Oh yeah.
I think that's perfect. Okay.
Yeah. I think it's a good.
So now should we just do it by what we see first?
Well, I wanted to go into Homestuck after this, and then after that we can do whatever. Yes.
We can go into Homestuck. All right. They're S tier. That's all I got to say on the matter.
I want to talk about their contribution to not fandom, but convention spaces, because they changed the way conventions were set up. So we had the way conventions, it's like whatever. And then you had massive amounts of kids dressed up in gray body paint all over, and they're all taking photos, to the point where it's like, where are they gathering? How are they gathering? Like how are these photo shoots being set up? So they basically had to designate spots where people could gather, where people can like do whatever. Like it basically dictated how that worked. And they also changed the way hotels responded to cons as well, because do you remember that story about the girl who
the Sharpie ink?
Yeah, the Sharpie ink. So she sits in a bath, in a tub of gray Sharpie ink in an attempt to dye her skin gray. She is hospitalized, and hotels are like constantly getting like paint all over their furniture because all these kids are coming in.
They're not setting it.
They're not sealing it like whatsoever.
Yeah, they don't seal their paint.
You can't get it out. So that's why they had to put up a whole bunch of rules. But either way, I don't think you'll ever be able to experience Homestuck. Like there's no equivalent to it. People say there is, but there's not. Like
there is not.
Undertale was big, but it wasn't like the same thing, because it had update culture. So basically people would have like, it's like, oh my god, Homestuck updated, and then like 2 hours later there's a cosplay of it. Like,
they crashed Twitter. Like the whole website. They crashed the whole website because I think it was just that Hussey was on Twitter, from what I remember. Like he just made a Twitter, and they just crashed the whole website. Something like that. There's lore.
There's so much lore of Homestuck.
And like there's a bunch. I think they crashed Tumblr at a point. It's I think with Undertale, it's that it was kind of the death of the Homestuck fandom, because a lot of people moved on from Homestuck to Undertale because it was Toby Fox, and he did so much of the music for Homestuck, and you had to Undertale fandom. Oh boy. That'll be a whole conversation, but they can sit there for a minute. They can have the vibes of being an S for a second.
Yeah, I like Homestuck as S tier. A lot of people won't agree, I would say, but from them as a whole, I think they're untouchable. I don't know. They're anomaly, right?
Yeah, there's something iconic about them. Yeah. There's something unattainable as a fandom of like all of these horrible things you can think of from that fandom anytime it comes to mind. Because like my first thing is always, there's that spit bucket video. And I think multiple videos like that exist.
Yeah, there is.
It's still like the fact that a bunch of teenagers got together around this fandom and were like, you know what's going to be really cool? If we spit in a bucket and put it on the internet, and people are going to really like this.
And then they had a ban throwing buckets at people because people were getting hurt. Like
it's insane the level that they affected convention scenes. They made it their own thing because it was so easy to cosplay. It's like
Dave Strider.
It's a t-shirt and some sunglasses. And like some of the cosplays were so amazing. That was something that I remember from Tumblr. It's like, oh my god, Homestuck cosplays were so cool. But the basic ones aren't like, you can buy the t-shirts from the Homestuck website for $20. Andrew Hussey himself sent you that shirt. And he says, go forth, convention scene, ruin it. Go ahead.
Ruin it.
You know?
Be free.
Go get your green paint unsealed everywhere, Bed Nye, whatever, you know? But I think they are solidly S tier because of the ripple that they have.
Okay.
Because I think like before Homestuck, it was always like, this is the new Hetalia fandom.
Yeah. And
now it's always just going to be, this is Homestuck. These are Homestuck kids.
There are two ways to branch off of this now. Are we going to go to Hetalia or are we going to go to Undertale?
I think we should let Undertale shine in its S glory for now, and I think we can go to Hitalia. I think I have Hitalia on there.
Okay, good. I can talk about Hitalia for a little bit. I wasn't actually a part of it during its prime. I thought it was a very annoying show about countries. And you know what? I still stand by that. It's an awful show about countries. The fandom is interesting because you have on one hand, the problem is that you're stereotyping a country and all of its actions. The problem is if you like said country, are you supporting its actions? So you have this weird, especially since the main characters are centered around World War II. Like, it's not just like, hey, this is just Germany and Japan and Italy. Hey, this is Germany, Japan, and Italy as Axis powers. So that was part of the problem. And it's like, how do you deal with that? Especially since a lot of it is anti-Semitism and stuff like that, Nazism, all that good stuff. And then you had people cosplaying characters and then going to memorial sites of like the Holocaust and taking pictures there. And then it's like, why are you doing this? And at the same time, the show itself was like a complete satire, not meant to be taken seriously, and people made some of the angstiest shit I've ever seen. Like they were like, you want angst, here you go. And they made beautiful work from it. I will say, like, a lot of sophisticated stuff came out of it, but at the same time it was not handled correctly because there was a bunch of 13-year-olds liking anime. So that's the that's the balance. I wouldn't rank it very high personally. I think they have
like a D.
I think it's a D. I fully agree. Actually, that show was awful.
They really, and I think if you had put them at C, I would have knocked them down because I do consider Hitalia partially responsible for the Homestuck fandom. Even if Homestuck is at S, Hitalia is why we have them.
Oh, let's talk about Fandomstuck for just a hot second. Just for a hot second.
Ahead.
Okay, so Fandomstuck. So you know how there's Super Hulock and everyone was like, oh my god, the fandoms love each other, we're best friends. Okay, before Hitalia and Homestuck didn't like each other, right? Even though they basically, like, it spawned, like Hitalia spawned Homestuck, or a lot of the fans were the same. A lot of people, for some reason, there was beef at the beginning, and then they realized that they didn't have to be, I don't want to even use Homestuck terms, but you know what I'm talking about. They could be morals, but it's like, so that was the equivalent of being best friends, or like friends who were just platonically soulmates, right? And that was what Hitalia and Homestuck was, platonic soulmates. And then they made little personifications of Hitalia and Homestuck, and then like Super Hulock and all that other stuff. And that's called Fandomstuck. And if you look it up and you Google it, I guarantee you're going to get a lot of results. Anyway, we can move on.
Yeah. So. I think we can do Undertale.
Let's do Undertale. You can take the floor on this one.
They're a little toxic. Undertale's a little toxic. Undertale's a little toxic. I don't know if I'd put them in the most bottom tier, but I feel like branching from Homestuck, they were a little toxic. They kind of made the internet not fun to be on for a little bit.
Yeah.
Personally, I loved the game. I loved the games, but I just feel like the culture around it you got like the worst of the worst from like different fandoms all coming into this, and it's especially because it was
universe, like, right?
Yeah, okay. Or like the content is amazing, but it's just hard with the people who choose to be outwardly interested in it. I think it's like a solid C or D for me. Probably D.
Okay.
There.
I trust your judgment. Go ahead and put it on D. Where do we go from there then? Okay, actually, what did I just bring up? Let's go talk about Steven Universe.
Okay.
So Steven Universe started off really cute, and the show itself tackles LGBTQ issues really well. Doesn't do a great job with the whole colonial thing, especially with like forgiveness and stuff like that, because like those are great messages. The context was not handled properly on certain issues. But the whole show is about love and acceptance and forgiveness and learning how to grieve and how to move on and how to like accept it, right? Like, beautiful message. I don't think any of the fans understood any of that. That shit just went over their head. There was an instance where a girl, okay, so this is a trigger warning, sorry. But some girl attempted and was hospitalized because someone bullied her on the internet. So she made a a humanized version of Pearl, but she made the skin a little bit too yellow for her to be Japanese. I think the ethnicity was Japanese. And then she got criticism for it. And, you know, usually criticism is fine. It's like, okay, can you make it so it's a little bit more realistic to how Asian people actually look? But the bullying was so intense that it got to the point where she felt suicidal. And that is an issue with the Steven Universe fandom, where it's like, it's so toxic, and then people were just like, there was so much discourse about it, but it felt like people were just yelling in a void. And I don't think I'd rank it very high. We'll put it on a C.
I think a C.
A C, because there was still like a lot of praise for the diversity, and then a lot of people were like, this is a progressive show. The fans itself probably weren't that progressive, but you know.
Yeah.
Oh, we can stem off to the other shows from Steven Universe, or we can fall back and do some other stuff.
Whatever works.
Okay.
It's wherever you want to go.
Okay. Then I'm gonna take over a large portion of this and talk about both Voltron and She-Ra. I don't know how much you know about Voltron. How much do you know?
I have like a good amount of. I have a couple friends who are into it, so I kind of like view the fandom as them, but that might be.
Okay, so Voltron came out, and it's a DreamWorks show, and then a lot of people from Steven Universe who were like, "Oh, I'm so happy, like gays," and then they went over to Voltron. Oh, let's start off with Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, before we even make that jump, let's do Avatar: The Last Airbender. I think it should be S tier. That's just an agreement. People who don't like Korra, I have a little bit of beef with. Like, Legend of Korra is so good. You're just mad that there's this like aggressive girl who is.
They hate to see a girl boss win in Cam. That's what it is.
That's what it is. Okay. All right. Now let's go to Voltron. So basically, Legend of Korra ends with the Asami and Korra holding hands and potentially a kiss, depends on where you watched it in the world. So they're gay. And then the creators make Voltron, which is it's like Power Rangers, but like the original, whatever. And then so people were like really happy. It had more of a diverse cast, and the way that it was set up, it was like pretty cool. And then the ship wars came, and that was just awful because people were like, do you ship him with the Latinx character, like Keith, which is the main dude, the Red Paladin, or do you ship him with his like older brother figure who is the Black Paladin, right? And then there was so much discourse about it. It got to the point where people were like, what the fuck is going on? That was only 2 years, but that shit felt like a lifetime. And then the creators were always like, Lance can date whoever he wants. Then everyone was like, oh my god, this character is going to be bisexual. They're going to continue to have that. And then so people were just fighting back and forth. The fans for Clance, the ship, put glass into the muffins, into like edible muffins, and then gave it to DreamWorks creators because they were pissed that they didn't make it canon. So I understand that. But then on the other hand, you had the Sheath shippers, who were like a bunch of 30-year-old women, like understandably like, hey, we belong in fandom. Like, yeah, of course. Like, I'm not going to be bullied by a bunch of 14-year-olds. But at the same time, it's like, why are you picking fights with a bunch of 14-year-olds? Anyway, I have a lot more to say about that, but it's just like that gets a solid C or D. C because good content was created. Actually, put it at a D. Actually, just put on a D.
We're putting a D. Okay.
Yeah. She-Ra, on the other hand, did a great job. They actually had character arcs. Perfect. It was beautiful. You can tell, though, that a lot of the people who worked on the cast weren't actually POC or, like, didn't have the background. Because they're like progressive people and they made a progressive show, but at the same time, like, they actually got lashed back after the show ended because of that. Just because they made a couple racist jokes and they were like, there was no one there to tone police them, like, at all, right?
Yeah.
But overall, I think they're a pretty decent fandom. I'd put them as like either A or B.
Yeah, I think they're like I don't know much about them. I would put them solidly B because I just haven't had interactions with it.
Okay,
I guess.
Put them as a B.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Now you can pick one. Wait,
I'm trying to
did
think
you
of like a
put-
solidly A.
Okay, sorry. Christian, can you put Avatar in the S tier?
It's in S tier. It's just a.
It's just hard to
a,
see.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like a transparent image. We gotta breeze through some of these because we don't have a ton of time.
Yeah.
So I think My Hero Academia is solidly an A-list. I've never been bothered by any of the fans personally, and I think the show is good. But that's just my vibe on it.
I'm going to bump it down.
I've never seen any rancid.
I'm gonna bump it down just a little bit. They're definitely not that bad. Like, people make them out to be so bad. I'm like, clearly you haven't seen any other fandoms before, but they're still pretty annoying. So I don't mind A, but I would prefer if we put them as B.
B? Okay. B is okay.
Where are they at?
It's right next to Twilight. It's the second one.
Oh.
Okay, let's do Twilight then.
Dang it.
Let's do Twilight.
Where did you put it? A or B?
I think it's a B.
B? Okay.
I'm gonna rank Twilight as an A.
I love Twilight fans. I think especially now, I think like it has had its resurgence. I think Twilight is great. I put it at an A too. I think like they never hurt anybody.
Yeah.
There's some solidly like middle of the line movies. Some of them are really good. It's solidly an A. I love Twilight fans. I think it's great.
And they got so much hate for just being like, it's like, why are you hating on just girls having a fun
Cool
time?
hating on teenage girl thing.
Yeah,
I think that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even the girls that hated it, they were like, that was just internalized misogyny. Like, come on, that movie was fun.
It's fun. Have you seen? Everyone's seen the baseball scene. That's one of the best scenes in movie history.
Exactly. So. When Bella comes out and she's like, "You named my daughter after the Loch Ness monster."
It's honestly amazing films. I don't even know why I said middle of the line. Top of the line movies.
Actually, we can move it to
great.
S tier if we want to. Like, I don't mind.
I think it's S tier.
S tier. Let's put it.
Twilight.
Okay.
All right.
Go for another one.
Let's just go in order of the pictures. So Attack on Titan is that first one right there.
There's two versions of Attack on Titan. There's when it first came out with only season 1, when everyone thought it was just a show about monsters, coming in through the wall. That one I would list as like a solid, what's the yellow, C tier, because they were annoying. Also, they were shipping the 15-year-old with the 30-year-old man. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, that's what I always think of when I think of Attack on Titan. I don't really think of like the current fandom, which seems a little more tame, and like it seems like it's that fandom grown up almost.
It is.
Where they've like gotten a little tamer. So I feel like if we included them, it would be like a B.
Yeah, let's put them as a B. That's a solid one. I like their current one. I think is an A. Like a lot of it is they're actually getting to like the moral philosophy of the show, like the morally gray stuff, ignoring the fact that the creator is an alt-right Japanese nationalist, that type of stuff. But to each their own. Let's move on to the next one. What's the next one?
That's BTS.
I'm gonna put them as A tier. They're annoying, but I don't really understand them. But I agree with them.
I think we're on the exact same page on that.
Okay.
They annoy me pretty bad. But I think it's just that I don't get it, and that's okay. Like there's other.
It's like, okay.
Put that fan cam on Twitter. I want to see it.
Yeah, it's like I don't know what you added to the conversone, but
you didn't
know. Nothing.
But I like to watch that little man dance, so that's good with me.
Next one?
Solidly A. Yeah, that's Buffy, which I think is an A. I think Buffy's an A. I feel like they are like very much the fandom in my head. I feel like they probably have their own issues that I don't know that much about because it is an older fandom, but the show's good.
The show is good.
Anyone that I know that likes Buffy is cool. I think Buffy's cool. I think it's a very like girl power one too for me.
Yeah.
I think Buffy's an A.
Buffy's an A? I'll agree with that. Even though I have no context with Buffy, I'll agree with that. I don't know what the next symbol is though. It's the
creepypasta.
Oh, creepypasta. I'm the one that put that down. I don't know much about them. I just put them down because Yeah, I'll put them as a C. We don't even have to talk about that.
What is creepypasta? Because in my head I understand, like, I know creepypasta to be just semi horror writing on the internet. Is that what
it is?
So
okay.
it is, but when I think of like the fandom, there's like a couple specific ones that are like so oversaturated with people being interested in them and thinking they're the best thing ever written, and those are Jeff the Killer specifically, Ben Drowned specifically. Just those two come to mind, but there's a couple more that are like really like,
yeah,
they're into them, and they have OCs just within those stories, which like reading Ben Drowned and being like, ooh, scary
wow.
Zelda, you know, but like it's not like I would have made, you're just making a Zelda OC, but it's creepy.
Yeah.
I don't
People
get
just
it.
wanted like the edgy vibe from it. They were like, they loved the aesthetic from it. I think
Yeah,
it was just like cryptid energy type of stuff. They were just
cryptid energy for sure.
I'm trusting your judgment on this. I just didn't realize there was a fandom.
Oh, there was a huge fan.
There
I saw
was.
so much fan art of it.
Jeff the Killer was the one for a second where it was
people
like,
were like, I love Jeff the Killer.
oh, he's cute. I don't know what you're talking about. Have you seen him? It's scary.
Okay, wait, let's move on to Danganronpa.
Oh,
Should the Danganronpa? Oh, yeah, go ahead. I don't know
we can
nothing.
discuss this, but Danganronpa is an S tier fan.
Okay. All I know is that the forums were like bomb.
Oh my god. I mean, they're probably more closer to like A or B, but I put them on S tier because that's mine. Those are mine.
Is it the fandom or is it the content that you're
the fandom's awful in such a good way.
what does that mean?
I don't know. So like, okay, Danganronpa was like, if you wanted to be into it, you had to be committed to be. Oh, my laptop is shaking. I'm so excited about this. So like 10 years ago, if you wanted to be into Danganronpa and you were in the US, there was a commitment involved. So there was no English port at the time. So when I first got into Danganronpa, I read it like it was a webcomic. I read a video game like a webcomic because it was just on this forum. Someone like line by line, character interaction by character interaction, because there's all these different like character interactions you can do to unlock different stuff and like learn about them, because it's basically a visual novel, but then you do like trials as the gameplay. But there was no English port, so they did the whole game, every line in English on a forum. So like that for me is like peak Danganronpa fandom. Now obviously there's like the games, and like I get Danganronpa TikToks, which are weird to me, and like I don't know, but like I just think that commitment level to like provide, and like it was kind of crowdsourced too, I think a little bit, parts of it. I loved that. And like when I was super into it, that was like right after 2 came out. It was at peak. Like it's been consistently good. You know, there might maybe I don't know enough about the Danganronpa fandom now. Maybe I'm missing something.
It's not
Maybe they're
cringy.
awful.
It's like almost like tasteful cringe, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I would agree with that completely. Like
Okay.
it's they understand where they're cringy. I understand that when I say I kin a Danganronpa character, I might be being kind of cringy, and I'm okay with that. It's like a tasteful, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
And I think most fans have that level of self-awareness about Danganronpa, because it kind of was like the first game's really good and then they start to suck. Like the second game's good. They're all good games, but the storyline's stupid. It's dumb. It's stupid. But like, okay, I could keep going about Danganronpa for a long time. It's an S tier for me.
S tier.
I'm not budging.
I'm gonna go ahead and throw Haikyuu into A tier, just because it's just a fun volleyball. You know, I've never had like truly. That's Yuri on Ice. Haikyuu, yeah.
You can't go out of order. I'll be like this with.
No. A tier.
A tier. Okay.
A tier. Yeah. They're cool. I like them. They've had a couple of stupid fights, but it's fine. It's just volleyball. Like it's just volleyball. Pick one.
Disney is next.
Disney's next.
Disney is next on the list. I think Disney's solidly a B. Like no one's done anything wrong. I think Disney adults are kind of weird, but I'm also kind of a Disney adult. So like,
I think
It's like y'all are really into this, but okay.
for
Yeah.
my 2 cents, I think Disney, it's too big. It's too
It is
big.
too big.
It's too it's too hard to classify into anywhere other than average,
yeah.
Yeah.
because there's just so much out there. You got really good beans, you got really bad beans, but they all kind of even each other out.
It's kind of like, oh wow, we're all just here. We're just vibing on various levels, but oh well. I'm gonna.
We really got to run through these next ones.
Let's
this is gonna be
just
fun.
do.
You got 10 minutes.
Yeah, we got 10 minutes. Come on, just
Drag Race is solidly a C. Drag Race fans are awful. Drag Race is great. Drag Race fans, surprisingly, the worst.
okay. Firefly. I know nothing about Firefly.
It's solidly a B. They're one of those ones to me that is like epitome of a fandom. They really wanted something. They didn't get a lot of what they wanted. Understandable.
This is the Firefly show, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
The
not
one-
the,
the one-
company.
Okay, the one that went for one season. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
Five Nights at Freddy's. I kind of want to rank it higher than some of the other ones. I just
A tier.
A tier. Okay, thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Five Nights at Freddy's. That was good.
Free, also probably like a B. The fans
I would
a little
B.
annoying. Yeah,
Put
it's
them
like,
as a B.
They didn't hurt anybody.
Well, I mean, someone
Furry's
stabbed
next
each
also.
other over
What?
Makoto. Yeah, people were in line for the body pillows, and then someone got stabbed. I'm pretty sure with a fork. So anyway, I think that was somewhere.
I think C is good.
Yeah.
We got furries as a whole next. I would say C. Because, like,
C.
I don't get it.
Yeah,
Live your truth.
but
I'm
you know
not
what?
gonna
They
put them on the
they commission
bottom.
people. They're pretty nice.
Yeah.
As I put them as a B. Put them as a B. I actually think they're
Yes.
pretty nice. Yeah,
Okay.
they're
All
nice.
right.
They're nice people.
I
Unless
I understand that. Okay, my 2 cents on the furry community. I also don't understand it, but they treat creators and people so respectfully. Hotels
they
and
do.
stuff love furry conventions just because you get zero complaints from
yeah,
hotel
that's
staff
true.
about them.
Okay.
So I don't get it. I think but I which is why I'm like, be sure that sounds right.
Okay.
I would even argue
You've
for
convinced
A,
me.
but that's just
Okay.
I don't know. But sometimes they have some weird stuff though, so it's like
Yeah, sometimes
Yeah.
some of it's a little not
So,
cool.
we'll leave
I
them
think
as B
B.
for questionable. Okay.
Yeah.
What about
B for
Glee?
questionable?
Glee, I want to put it down low. Oh,
Yeah, like C or D.
C or D. Yeah.
Let's just do D.
Okay.
Fuck Glee.
Game
I
of
believe this
Thrones.
is Game of Thrones, but the books.
Oh, the books. Okay.
B.
Oh, you put 2. Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
You can take the books. Go for it.
B, like I think the book people never really hurt anybody. They are kind of annoying about the show, but I feel like that's separate. Like I feel like they're just like they like the books.
Yeah.
I don't know a ton. I just put them as a separate entity from the list Game of Thrones fans. I love Game of Thrones. We suck. We suck. We're bad. Game of Thrones fans are bad. C or D.
C or D. Okay. I can't
Yeah.
say much, but I know that people were pissed about the ending. But oh well.
We're like not like whatever.
Okay, we got to go through this. Gravity Falls. I'd put S tier or A tier. I want to say S tier.
Yeah.
S tier is good.
Hamilton is a D tier. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no questions there. Hannibal.
what is that?
It's Hannibal.
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 C.
C. They were like Sherlock, but a little bit edgier and worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Harry
felt like they
Potter?
were more sophisticated, but they weren't. Harry Potter is
Yes. B.
E. I want to say yeah, because they're good and then there's bad.
There's bad. Yeah, it's one of those things like with Disney adults. Like Harry Potter adults are a little weird, but I'm still a Harry Potter adult.
There's
Same.
I think what needs to happen here with Harry Potter is, yes, I think it's too big. I think you need to separate Harry Potter fandom from the J.K. Rowling stance.
Yeah.
There you go. Perfect. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Hunger Games, I believe, is a solid A. They never really hurt anybody. They just like that. It's
Yeah.
like fine. The
It's
books
fine.
are cool. The movies are all right. The next one is Miraculous Ladybug.
You know much about it? I know about it, but
Yeah.
it's a
not
garbage children's show. Everyone was just in it for the dynamic because the superhero girl had a crush on the superhero boy as a regular boy, right?
Yeah.
But they were the same
And then it was
person,
swapped.
but it was like oh my god, it was a love square with the same people.
Yeah, it was weird.
Because they didn't know their own identities. I would say
C?
that's like a C. It's just a C. I don't know what the next one is.
I think that's Lord of the Rings. A.
Hey, that's a good A tier.
Yeah. Marvel movies.
Marvel.
That's specifically the cinematic universe. I would give it a B or an A. Sometimes they're annoying,
Yeah.
but I love Marvel movies, and I think the fandom is fun.
Yeah, I'd say A tier. They're fine.
Yeah.
Like,
we really
okay.
gotta fly through these.
Yeah, Merlin.
Merlin.
I don't think they did anything wrong. Are gonna B or an A for me?
Yeah.
B?
They're
Okay.
gonna like set up a lot of stuff for like fan fiction though.
Yeah.
Like they're the reason why you can do like this character's still alive. Just kidding. Just kidding.
It's like
That didn't happen. Just kidding.
My Little Pony. D. Yeah. Like if you were the crowd that it was meant for, or like you just enjoyed the show, it was fine. If you were a brony, you get it. That's why it's at D.
Yeah.
Nintendo.
That's such a big one, so it has to, I guess, go in B. But I would say A. I think Nintendo stands are fun.
Yeah, that's fine. I like that. Sometimes they're a little unsatisfied with their things, but that's when we go to Pokemon. Yeah.
Off fans were cool. They never hurt anybody. They made cool art. I would give them an A or an S.
I would give
they
them
were just
an A.
cool.
Yeah, A is fine. I like them. One slur.
That's specifically the one slur.
Yeah, not the Lorax fandom, the one slur fandom. And if you don't know what that is, I highly encourage you to look it up.
Because D.
No, give them a C. Give them a C. I like them. I thought it was funny. Let's see. Overwatch.
Overwatch, a C. I think sometimes they're a little, but
yeah. What is the next one? Is that Percy Jackson?
Percy Jackson is an A tier. S tier,
that's A tier.
actually.
S tier. Okay, I'm down for that.
Do you think A tier? We can argue that.
No, it's fine. We're just gonna. We gotta go. We have 3 minutes.
S tier. Persona, A tier. I think
tier.
Persona fans are cool. Rooster Teeth, solidly a B tier.
Okay.
You can do Ruby.
I don't know anything about Ruby.
C tier.
Okay.
I will agree. I will agree with
books?
both of those. Being heavily involved in, I will agree with that.
Regular
books.
Sherlock.
Original fandom. Fuck it.
This is the
A
Conan
tier.
Doyle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Conan Doyle fans.
The Conan Doyle.
Star Trek fans, I'm putting them at S.
S tier. I completely agree with that one. Like that one's good.
Star Wars, though, I feel like it's like a B.
It's a B.
Sometimes they're awful.
They're not that great. We already did Steven Universe, right?
I guess I did Steven Universe twice. I don't know what that is.
This is Adventure Zone.
Oh, Adventure Zone.
Yeah. I like them. I thought they were cool. I don't have any. I would say A.
I don't have any problems. Let's put 100 at B.
Yeah, I just felt
It's
bad
just
for them because their lesbian died, dude. I was like, that was brutal.
Warrior Cats kids, solid A.
Not S tier?
S tier. You're right.
Okay, nice. What
West
else
Wing is also like a B. It's like a classic. It's like I don't think they really hurt anybody. Night Vale. That one's hard.
Yeah, I'd say A. They had some creative stuff. I like them. The content was good.
But the fandom.
X-Files?
The fandom. Yeah.
But fandom.
The fandom, the content was still good. I mean, they had some controversies and stuff like that, but it wasn't that bad. X-Files, I don't know where to put X-Files. I'd put them as either A or B. A,
Yeah,
actually.
A or B.
A. Let's go for A.
Like, I feel like the classic ones are hard. If they didn't do anything specifically bad, they're an A.
Yeah.
The next
Yuri
one is
on Ice.
A.
I'd say A. Yeah, because everyone's like, there's no way this is actually happening. And then they actually got married. So it's like, whatever. Well,
Yeah.
engage. What is the next one?
That's Xena Warrior Princess. That one is like, it comes to my mind with fandom. I don't know a lot. So I feel like it's like a C or a B. I don't know anything. Just there
I'm putting this
in
at
my
S.
consciousness.
I'm putting this at S tier.
S tier. Interesting.
I'm putting this at S tier. They just want powerful women on screen. Like, it's great.
Okay.
Period. Okay.
I like that. And then finally we have Pokemon.
I think we should present this without any context. No conversation.
Okay, no conversation, just pick one.
Yep. C.
C. Okay.
Specifically the fandom? C.
C. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We
that's
made
good.
it through.
And that should be it, actually. I can actually do a shout out for the other things that we're doing. So basically this, actually, can you do the, I don't know what fandom.
I can talk about Bed Wars really quick. We have
Okay,
a
yeah,
couple
you
of,
do that.
Geek Week events happening this week. They're mostly going to be live streams. On Friday, Friday from 5 to 7, we're going to be doing Bed Wars. Bed Wars is kind of like Capture the Flag meets Hunger Games, so it's going to be a very competitive night. You'll see me and Cam again, and a lot of the people that were in the stream yesterday are going to be part of it, and we're also going to be getting some community members of C9 and C10, so not just staff, so it'll be really fun. And that'll be over on the Twitch channel. And then Cam and I are doing a My Immortal event on Friday, which is going to be very exciting. It's going to be very similar to this, just talking about things we know some about, but not a lot about.
Not a lot of it. We're going to end up bullshitting a lot of it, just like we did today. So
yeah. And that one is, that one's Saturday at 7?
Yes, Saturday at 7 p.m. Yes.
And it's going to be right here.
Yes, on the YouTube channel. So come visit. Actually, you can even set a reminder for it if you're on the YouTube channel right now.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you guys for hanging out, and enjoy the rest of Geek Week. There's a lot of really cool stuff happening. Yeah.
All right. See y'all.